Let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in a situation where you knew someone cared about you, but they acted like they didn't? They pulled away when you got too close, they avoided eye contact, they changed the subject when emotions came up. You could feel the connection, but they kept it buried, locked up like a secret vault. That, my friend, is the life of someone with avoidant attachment. And here's the truth: they feel deeply. In fact, they feel so deeply that it scares them. They don't shut down because they don't care. They shut down because they care too much and don't know what to do with it. Now imagine this. What if you could turn the lock on that vault? What if, in just 7 days, you could awaken feelings in an avoidant they've been hiding all along? Not by chasing them, not by begging, not by proving yourself, but by shifting your energy, your actions, your presence in a way that silently pulls their feelings to the surface. That's not manipulation, that's alignment. Because here's the secret: avoidants don't respond to pressure, they respond to safety, space, and mystery. And when you master that, you become the one person who can break through the walls they've spent years building. So today, I'm going to share with you a 7-day roadmap, a challenge that can flip the switch inside an avoidant's heart. 7 days, 7 powerful shifts. By the end, you'll no longer be wondering if they care. You'll see it. You'll feel it. You'll know it. Day 1 is the foundation of everything, because without this, nothing else will matter. If you want to unlock the secret feelings of an avoidant, you must first understand that chasing them is like trying to catch smoke with your bare hands. The harder you grasp, the more it slips away. The truth is, avoidants aren't running from love, they're running from the pressure of love. They've learned, somewhere in their past, that closeness means danger. It means demands. It means losing themselves. So when you chase, when you push, when you try to force clarity, all you're really doing is confirming their biggest fear. That intimacy is suffocating. But here's the paradox: the moment you stop chasing, you actually become magnetic. Think about it. When someone is confident enough to lean back, when they trust themselves enough to not overreact when they show the world, "I don't need to cling because I know my value," that energy is irresistible. It speaks louder than words, louder than any love confession. It says, I am solid. I am unshakable. That's what an avoidant responds to, not your desperation, not your convincing, but your quiet strength. On day 1, your task is simple, but it will feel like the hardest thing you've ever done. You must stop trying to get a reaction out of them. You must resist the urge to text first just to feel secure, to check in just to get reassurance, to ask questions just to feel close. Instead, you shift into attraction mode. Attraction doesn't mean playing games. It means embodying a state where you don't need their validation to feel whole. You're not ignoring them. You're not punishing them. You're showing that you can stand on your own 2 feet without collapsing if they step back. And here's the beautiful irony. When you stop chasing, you create space. And in that space, something powerful happens. The avoidant who is used to feeling trapped suddenly feels free. And freedom, for them, is safety. Safety opens the door to curiosity. Curiosity opens the door to longing. And longing leads to feelings they can no longer hide. So on this very first day, you are reprogramming the dynamic. You're saying with your energy, I will not run after you. I will not demand. I will not shrink myself to fit into your comfort zone. I am whole, I am enough, and I choose attraction over chasing. This is where the switch begins. When you stop running toward them, you make them take the first step toward you. Day 2 is where the shift becomes more subtle but also more powerful. If day 1 was about releasing the chase, day 2 is about learning the rhythm of the avoidant and moving in harmony with it. An avoidant's emotional world is like a dance. They step forward, then back, forward again, then back even further. To most people, this feels confusing, frustrating, even exhausting. But if you want to awaken their hidden feelings, you can't fight their rhythm. You have to mirror it. You have to show them that you are not trying to control the pace, but that you can move with them in a way that feels natural, safe, and pressure-free. Think of it like water meeting a rock. If you crash against it, you break. If you flow around it, you eventually shape it. When they open the door even slightly, you respond with warmth, not with a flood of demands. If they send you a short message, you don't overwhelm them with a paragraph. They don't need proof of your feelings. They need consistency of your presence. When they share something small, like a glimpse of what they're feeling, you meet it with acknowledgement, not interrogation. That calm response tells them something important. I can be real with you and you won't suffocate me. I can move at my pace and you won't force me into yours. Most people fail here because they try to accelerate intimacy. They sense an opening and they rush in, thinking this is the moment to secure love. But for the avoidant, that feels like a trap. It confirms their fear that closeness equals loss of freedom. The secret is to show them that closeness with you doesn't mean losing themselves. It means gaining a partner who understands their rhythm. When you mirror their pace, you give them room to breathe, and when they breathe, they can finally feel. This doesn't mean you become passive or indifferent. It means you become attuned. You remain open, but not overbearing. You stay steady, but not pushy. You reflect their steps while holding your own ground. And this balance creates trust, the one thing they crave but fear at the same time. Day 2 is about building that trust silently, without fanfare. It's about showing with your actions that you can hold the space without collapsing into neediness or exploding into frustration. And as they start to notice this, they realize something powerful. With this person, I don't have to run. With this person, I can finally rest. And the moment they feel that, the switch inside them moves one step closer to turning on. Day 3 is about the kind of strength most people overlook, the strength of silence. Avoidants are masters of withdrawal. They step back, they retreat into themselves, and they test whether you'll come chasing after them. Most people panic in these moments. They send message after message, they ask questions, they demand answers, and they fight against the silence with noise. But that noise only confirms the avoidance belief that closeness equals pressure. What truly shakes them at their core is when you choose not to react at all. When you stay steady, calm, and centered, your silence becomes louder than anything you could say. It's not the silence of punishment. It's not the silence of manipulation. It's the silence of self-respect. It's the silence that says, I don't need to pull you out of your cave. I'll be here whole and grounded when you're ready to step back into the light. That silence is powerful because it's rare. Avoidants are used to people chasing them, fighting for their attention, proving their worth. But when you do not react, when you hold your peace instead of begging for connection, you become the one thing they don't expect, safe ground. Imagine the difference. One person storms into their space demanding, "Why are you pulling away?" And another person simply breathes, continues living their life, and radiates calm presence. Who do you think the avoidant eventually returns to? Always the one who didn't make their withdrawal into a war. Because the avoidant's greatest fear is being trapped, and your silence tells them they are free. And freedom, ironically, is the very thing that allows them to move closer. The strength of silence is not weakness. It's not indifference. It's control over yourself. It's knowing that love does not need to be proven in every second, that connection is not destroyed by a pause, and that chasing is never the answer. When you show that kind of discipline, you stand out. Your silence whispers, I am not here to cage you. I am here to hold space without fear, without pressure. That message sinks deep into the avoidant's heart, because it's the one thing they secretly crave but almost never receive. So day 3 is about restraint, about learning that sometimes the most powerful move you can make is no move at all. It's about trusting that your steadiness is more magnetic than any frantic attempt to pull them close. And when they feel that unshakable energy, the wall they've built begins to crack because deep down they realize, this person is different. This person doesn't run after me, which means maybe I don't have to run away. Day 4 is where you begin to introduce a powerful shift, mystery. Avoidants are naturally wired to keep things hidden, to protect themselves, and to avoid exposure. But here's the paradox: while they hide, they are also deeply curious. What captures their attention is not what is given too easily, but what they cannot quite figure out. If you want to ignite their secret feelings, you cannot hand them everything on a silver platter. You must create a space where they lean in, where they wonder about you, where they feel the urge to uncover what you're not openly revealing. Too many people make the mistake of oversharing in hopes of building closeness. They pour out their heart, they confess their every thought, they give away every detail of their life, thinking transparency will build trust. But with an avoidant, this backfires. They don't feel safer when you expose everything. They feel suffocated. They don't need more words. They need curiosity. They need the spark that comes when they can't quite predict you. Mystery doesn't mean playing games or being manipulative. It means you don't always explain yourself. It means you don't rush to fill every silence. It means you have a life, passions, and interests outside of them, and you don't feel the need to broadcast every detail. When you hold a little bit back, you create a magnetic pull. They start to ask themselves, what's on your mind? What do you feel? What are you doing when you're not here? And those questions create a spark of longing that no amount of chasing could ever achieve. Think about it. Human beings are wired to value what feels rare. When something is predictable, when it's always available, it fades into the background. But when something carries a little mystery, it becomes irresistible. The avoidant, who usually feels in control of pulling away, suddenly finds themselves leaning forward, curious about you in ways they didn't expect. They can't help but feel the pull, because curiosity naturally awakens emotions. Day 4 is about holding that energy. You don't over-explain your feelings. You don't make yourself predictable. You let your presence speak for itself, and you let your absence create space for them to miss you. Mystery makes them realize they don't fully have you figured out, and that realization stirs something inside of them, something they can't ignore. It forces them to see you not as someone chasing, but as someone they want to chase. And when that shift happens, when they begin to lean toward you out of curiosity, you've unlocked one of the most powerful triggers of their hidden emotions. Mystery is not distance, it's depth, and when you embody it, the avoidant begins to feel not just safe with you, but drawn to you in ways they never expected. Day 5 is where the heart of transformation begins, because this is the day you focus on emotional safety. For an avoidant, love has never felt safe. Somewhere in their past, they learned that vulnerability leads to pain, whether it was rejection, criticism, abandonment, or being made to feel small when they opened up. So now, their walls are not built out of coldness, but out of protection. If you want to awaken their secret feelings, you must dismantle those walls piece by piece, not with pressure, but with proof that you are safe. Emotional safety doesn't come from big gestures or grand speeches. It comes from the little moments, the subtle reactions that tell the avoidant, with me, you don't have to hide. When they share something small, a fleeting thought, a subtle feeling, you don't interrogate them. You don't amplify it. You don't use it as leverage. You honor it. You let it land. You make it clear, even without words, that you value their truth and won't weaponize it. That's when the avoidance starts to test the waters again. They begin to wonder if maybe, just maybe, they've found someone who won't punish them for being human. The mistake most people make here is overlooking the small steps. They wait for big breakthroughs, but avoidants reveal themselves in whispers, not shouts. A slight change in tone, a small act of affection, a rare glimpse of worry. That's them letting you in. And when you meet those moments with patience, with gentleness, with gratitude, you multiply them. Every time you show that their vulnerability is safe with you, you chip away at the fear that has kept them distant. Safety also comes from consistency. Avoidants have often dealt with inconsistency in the past, people who pulled them close one day and pushed them away the next. They don't trust words, they trust patterns. So on day 5, you commit to being steady. You don't explode when they retreat, and you don't over-celebrate when they come forward. You hold your center. That calmness is what makes them feel like you're different from everyone else. And here's the magic: once an avoidant begins to feel safe, their secret feelings surface in ways they can't control. They may still resist, they may still hesitate, but their guard begins to lower. They'll test you, yes, but each time you pass that test with patience and respect, their attachment to you deepens. Because deep inside, the avoidant doesn't want to live behind walls. They want to love, to connect, to trust. And when they feel emotionally safe with you, those hidden feelings are no longer something they can bury. They rise to the surface, and for the first time, they let themselves feel love without fear. Day 6 is where the spotlight turns back to you, because the truth is, an avoidant will never be drawn to someone who makes them the center of their entire world. Avoidants are naturally attracted to strength, to independence, to someone who has a life that is full and vibrant beyond the relationship. If you want to switch on their hidden feelings, you must show them, not tell them, that you are whole on your own. When you shift the focus back to yourself, something incredible happens. Instead of you chasing them, they begin to feel the pull toward you. This doesn't mean ignoring them or cutting them off. It means cultivating your own energy, passions, and joy. It means waking up every day and asking, what fills me up? What excites me? What can I build, create, or experience today that has nothing to do with them? When you do this, your energy changes. You stop radiating neediness and you start radiating abundance. And abundance is magnetic. An avoidant can sense when someone is self-sufficient, and it creates both safety and admiration. Safety because they realize you won't suffocate them. Admiration because strength is irresistible. Think about it. If all of your focus is on them, they feel trapped. They sense that your happiness depends on their actions, and that weight feels unbearable. But when you rise into your own power, when you build your own life, they feel something completely different. They feel curiosity. They feel drawn in. They feel a subtle fear of losing you, not because you're pulling away, but because you are so alive in your own right. That fear awakens the feelings they've been burying. Day 6 is about showing them, through your actions, that you are a partner, not a prisoner. Go after your goals, nurture your friendships, invest in your health, create experiences that light you up. When they see you thriving, it forces them to rethink the walls they've built. It makes them realize that closeness with you wouldn't mean losing freedom. It would mean joining someone who's already free. And here's the secret. Avoidants don't want someone who needs them to survive. They want someone they can respect. Someone who mirrors back to them the strength they've always tried to project, but who also has the courage to love. When you become that person, you shift the entire dynamic. Instead of running, they begin to lean in. Instead of hiding, they begin to reveal. Because suddenly they see you not just as someone who wants them, but as someone they could truly build with. And that realization is what stirs their hidden feelings into the open. Day 7 is about breaking the pattern, because avoidants live inside predictable cycles. They know how people usually respond to them. They know that when they pull away, others chase. They know that when they give just a little affection, others grab onto it and demand more. These patterns are what keep them in control. But the moment you disrupt that rhythm, you capture their attention in a way they can't ignore. To switch on an avoidant's secret feelings, you have to surprise them, not with games, not with manipulation, but with behavior they don't expect. Imagine this: an avoidant pulls back, fully expecting you to get anxious and try harder. But instead of chasing, you step back calmly, focusing on yourself. That small act flips their entire expectation. Or picture this: they offer you a little affection, maybe a small compliment or a rare vulnerable moment. Instead of overwhelming them with emotion, you simply smile, receive it, and move on with grace. That balance shocks them. It tells them you are not like everyone else. It makes them wonder, who is this person that doesn't fall into the script I've seen 100 times before? Breaking the pattern also means showing gratitude where they expect criticism. If they do something small, like reaching out, checking in, or opening up, you don't point out how rare it is or guilt them for not doing more. Instead, you thank them. You acknowledge it with appreciation, not demand. That shift plants a seed in their mind. Maybe closeness with you isn't dangerous. Maybe it's rewarding. That subtle difference is enough to open the door to deeper emotions. When you break the pattern, you're also training them on a subconscious level. You're showing them that love with you won't be the same as love they've known before. You're showing them that this connection doesn't have to equal control, suffocation, or loss of freedom. And because it feels different, they begin to relax. And when they relax, their hidden feelings start to rise up in ways they can no longer hold back. Day 7 is powerful because it's the culmination of all the previous steps. You've stopped chasing, mirrored their rhythm, mastered silence, created mystery, built emotional safety, and shifted focus back to yourself. Now, by breaking the pattern, you seal it all together. You become unforgettable to them, not because you tried harder, but because you dared to be different. And when you're different, you become the one person who can reach their heart. And that's when their secret feelings finally come alive, not in silence, not in hiding, but out in the open where they can no longer deny them. When you step back and look at the journey of these 7 days, you'll notice something incredible. It was never about forcing the avoidant to change, and it was never about twisting yourself into knots to get their love. It was about transforming you. It was about stepping into your own power, learning patience, building resilience, and embodying a kind of presence that an avoidant cannot help but feel safe around. The truth is, relationships are not about chasing, begging, or convincing. They are about alignment. And when you align with strength, balance, and emotional freedom, you create the kind of environment where love is no longer resisted, it's released. Each step along this path is designed to rewire the cycle. On day 1, you took your energy back from chasing because chasing kills attraction. On day 2, you learned to mirror their rhythm, showing them you can meet them without overwhelming them. On day 3, you stepped into the power of silence, proving that your steadiness is more powerful than any outburst. Day 4 taught you the art of mystery, the spark that makes them lean in instead of retreat. Day 5 brought emotional safety, the foundation they've always longed for but never trusted. On day 6, you shifted the spotlight back to yourself, rising into the kind of independence that inspires admiration. And finally, on day 7, you shattered the predictable patterns, forcing them to see you in a light they've never seen before. Do you see the transformation here? It's not about making the avoidant someone different. It's about becoming someone they cannot help but feel connected to. Someone who embodies safety, strength, and intrigue all at once. That's when the switch happens. That's when their walls, which were built over years of pain and fear, begin to crack. That's when they start to feel emotions they can no longer bury because you've created the only environment strong enough to hold them. And here's the deeper truth. This isn't just about the avoidant. This journey transforms you. When you stop chasing, you rediscover your worth. When you learn to mirror, you learn patience. When you master silence, you master your emotions. When you embody mystery, you reclaim your independence. When you create safety, you build compassion. When you shift focus back to yourself, you rise. And when you break the pattern, you step into a kind of power that changes not only your relationship with others, but your relationship with yourself. So as you walk away from these 7 days, I want you to carry one truth with you. Love is not about control, it's about freedom. The avoidant doesn't need more pressure, they need more space. They don't need more chasing, they need more trust. And when you become the person who can give that, their secret feelings are no longer secret. They come alive not because you forced them, but because you allowed them to breathe. That is the essence of true connection, the kind that doesn't fade because it's built on respect, strength, and emotional safety. Remember this, you are not powerless in love, you are not at the mercy of someone else's walls. You have the ability to create change, to influence energy, and to awaken emotions that have been locked away for years. But it begins with you. It begins with your decision to rise, to stop chasing, and to start leading with strength. If you commit to this path, if you embody these 7 days, you won't just awaken the avoidance hidden feelings. You'll awaken the most powerful version of yourself. And that, in the end, is the ultimate victory. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I truly appreciate every single one of you who shows up, listens, and grows through these messages. Remember, transformation doesn't happen overnight. It happens step by step, decision by decision, day by day. If today's message inspired you, motivated you, or gave you clarity, then take that energy with you and apply it. That's how real change begins. If you found value in this video, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and of course, subscribe so you never miss the next powerful message. Your support is what keeps this channel alive and growing. And let me know your thoughts in the comments. What resonated most with you today? Which part of this journey are you on right now? I love reading your stories and connecting with you on this path of growth and healing. Until next time, take care of yourself, stay strong, and remember, you have the power to create the love and the life you truly deserve. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.